All right, welcome to part 4. In this explainer, we're really digging into the source material's second major claim. It calls this the HYDRA's heads, basically a powerful network, it says, exists right at the very top inside Microsoft's board of directors.
So, the source material kicks things off with a puzzle that, honestly, looks a bit like a smoking gun. It's this seemingly direct link between one of the world's biggest tech companies and a really prominent NGO. On the surface, it seems almost too clean, too perfect, which, makes you ask the first big question. Is it even real?
The investigation gets started with what the document calls the Rodriguez contradiction. Okay, so you've got two different guys. On one side, there's Leon Rodriguez. He's a former U.S. immigration director, and he's on the board of the NGO, HIAS. Then you have Carlos A. Rodriguez, a CEO who sits on the board of Microsoft. The source says that some initial mix-up over these two names made it look like there was a direct connection between the NGO and the tech giant.
But then, just as quickly, the source material just pulls the rug out from under that idea. That so-called direct link? Yeah, it's busted. The documents are clear. Leon Rodriguez, the one with all the government and highest connections, is not on Microsoft's board. The analysis presents this as more than just a simple mistake. It's framed as a deliberate piece of misdirection.
And this is where the source makes a really crucial turn. See, the investigation isn't actually about one single person making one single link. The document says it plainly. The hand is not one individual. It is the system. So what on earth does the source mean by the system? Well, it's defined as a setup where totally separate organizations, in this case the tech, which is Microsoft, and the NGO, which is HIAS, are acting like two hands on the same body. They might look independent, sure, but the claim is they're both working to carry out one single unified mission. So if that direct link was a distraction, what are the real connections?
Okay, so with that initial idea of a direct link now set aside, the analysis pivots to what it claims are the real connections, the true heads of the HYDRA. We're talking about influential people on Microsoft's board whose other roles and affiliations create these powerful links or interlocks across really critical sectors of society.
First up, we have Charles W. Scharf. He's presented as the embodiment of what the source calls the tech bank interlock.
Now, as it's laid out here, Scharf's network creates a pretty powerful bridge. His seat on the Microsoft board puts him right at the top of the tech world. At the same time, as the CEO of Wells Fargo, he's at the very heart of the U.S. financial industry. The source also makes a point to mention his role at the Kennedy Center, suggesting this interlock isn't just about business, it reaches into a major cultural institution as well. Next, the source focuses on Reid Hoffman, who is a huge figure in Silicon Valley. He's identified as representing the tech lobby interlock.
Hoffman's network is shown here as a real web of influence. It's not just about his Microsoft seat. The source points to his roots in the famous PayPal Mafia, a group that's had a massive impact on the tech industry. Then, it connects him to direct political action through FWD-US, which is a pro-immigration lobbying group, and also to elite think tanks like the Aspen Institute in Stanford. The argument being made is that this creates a direct pipeline from tech innovation right into policy-shaping circles. And the final individual the source highlights is Penny Pritzker. She's framed as the tech policy interlock, a direct bridge between Silicon Valley and the absolute highest levels of government.
The network laid out for Pritzker is pretty formidable. Her role at Microsoft isn't just any board seat. She actually chairs the Public Policy Committee. That gives her direct say over the company's political and social strategy. Combine that with her experience as a former U.S. Secretary of Commerce, and you've got a direct link to federal power. Then, her board seats at incredibly influential groups like the Council on Foreign Relations, well, that extends her reach onto the global stage.
So, you've got these three individual profiles. What does it all mean when you put them together? The source synthesizes all these connections to argue that they form a centralized network of influence, what it calls a command and control nexus.
This table really pulls it all together, right? What the source is arguing here is that this isn't just a random collection of successful people on a board. The claim is that by having people with deep ties to banking, lobbying, and global policy all in these key positions, a strategic structure of influence has been built that goes way beyond just technology.
And then the analysis zooms in on one specific overlap that it thinks is a big deal. Both Scharf and Pritzker are on boards at the Kennedy Center. The source calls this an informal interlock, the kind of powerful connection that gets made outside of a formal boardroom. It even labels the institution a cultural citadel,
kind of implying that it's a place where the elite consensus gets shaped away from public view.
And this brings the whole argument full circle. The source's main point is that the real story was never that simple, debunked, link. That was just one hand. The real focus, it argues, needs to be on this entire interconnected system of formal and informal power, the entire HYDRA.
So in this explainer, we've basically just mapped the network of interlocks alleged in the source material, showing how influence from a single corporate board is claimed to stretch out into finance, policy, and culture. And that leaves us right where the analysis wants us to be, with its final provocative question. If this really is a command and control nexus, then what is its ultimate mission?